Welcome to C2S TV, the TV channel that brings you insightful interviews with business leaders and experts in their field. We're delighted to have with us today Sophie Marshal from Golley Slater. Welcome, Sophie. Really lovely to see you. Do you want to just give us a little bit of an insight into your role at Golley Slater and a little bit about Golley Slater?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Suzanne, and thanks for having us on the TV channel. Very exciting, and obviously a pleasure to be part of the Circle to Success family. So, as you said, my name's Sophie Marshal. I'm the Client Service Director at Golley Slater. Most people kind of wonder what a Client Service Director does. I kind of sit in the middle of everything: clients, planning, strategy, creative, the whole account handling team. And really, I guess it's the responsibility for me to make sure that any brief we receive from a client, has the best possible outcome. I guess you could say the buck stops with me, I guess.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure, yes. But we get through it, and our very purpose really is to gain results for our clients for the work that we do. I mean, ultimately, really what we love to do is kind of connect target audiences through lead generation and customer engagement strategies. We like to say we build brands over time and sales overnight, but sometimes the overnight bit on the sales side doesn't quite pull off. So we maybe elongate the overnight to a few months. So we are 150 experts across 3 locations, but today I'm talking to you specifically about the Cirencester office. We've been there about 20 years, and there are only 14 of us there. We're focused, like I say, on kind of that measurable, sustainable growth for our clients. And we behave a bit like a startup, if you like, but with the backing of a bigger independent agency.
And it sounds like what you've been talking about, you cover quite a lot of ground. And you've also got, as you say, while there might only be, 14 of you, that's still quite a lot for an agency anyway, but then the 150 in the total group. So you do have a huge amount of capacity to deliver to clients. So how do you kind of tailor what you do to your clients?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. And we generally don't take an off-the-shelf approach. We much prefer to understand our kind of clients' unique business challenges and goals. For us, that's where it all starts. If we don't understand the business goals, how are we going to create marketing campaigns that are going to be successful? So, like we say, whether it's targeting a specific audience, acquiring more leads, retaining your existing customers, that's often something that's forgotten about. Increasing revenue. We really kind of build those customized like strategies around those objectives. I think for us, because we are in the results marketing, kind of direct marketing space, our approaches are always data driven and insight led. So we have to make sure that every campaign is aligned to those business goals, in order to kind of have the insight off the back of them to show whether it's been successful or not. I think the key thing to mention there is that sometimes things aren't successful, but there are learnings. And those learnings, really help you to develop the future programs for your marketing, even your sales teams. Without that kind of nugget, it's really difficult, I think, sometimes to build more insight around campaigns.
Maybe so just to bring it to life for us, you've got an example of a recent client you've been working with?
Yeah, we do actually. One we're quite proud of. So it's a print partner of ours called Precision Poco, and we actually got to the Performance Marketing Awards. I think it was back in May. We were finalists for Best B2B and Best Lead Gen campaign. So that was a real kind of feather in our cap this year, if you like. They came to us and really they had a CRM system, a HubSpot. We are a HubSpot partner, and they asked us to help them to use it properly. I think we find a lot of clients in that space that they have a CRM system and then it kind of dies a death inside the business because nobody really knows how to use it to its full potential. So we did a bit of a deep dive into the system and how they're currently using it. Like I say, understanding their audiences. It was all about lead generation and revenue, but also to prove the case that HubSpot was the right CRM system for them. We we managed to generate a 10 to 1 ROI on that
Wow.
campaign, and it only ran for 4 or 5 weeks, because it was really a kind of we were proving the case, right? We were writing a business case to the board to allow us to kind of have more budget in the marketing space. So yeah, super proud. 10 to 1 ROI, I think, is a pretty good result.
I think you would go with that, wouldn't you? You would say that was a success. So that's
Yes.
incredible. And in terms of then the Golley Slater offer, what would you say that
Mm.
sets you apart from other marketing agencies?
Mm. Yeah, that's an interesting one, because we all kind of blur the lines, don't we? All the marketing agencies, and you must see this, Suzanne, doing what you do and speaking to as many people as you do on a daily basis. I think really our longevity and our experience is key. Um, we've been in the industry for over 60 years. I haven't personally. I mean, I'd be aging very
No,
well if that
clearly
was the
not.
case. But
Otherwise, you've got a very good doctor going on there.
to one, listen, and really listen, and sometimes interrogate, um, and sometimes disagree, because you might know your business very well, but we know our business very well, and actually joining those two things together, I think, with you know the integrity, I guess, that we all have in our businesses is pretty key. I think integrating creativity with conversion is also really key, especially when you're in a B2B world, right? Everything's a bit blue, grey, a bit dull in B2B. And I'm on a bit of a mission to change that, because B2B can be exciting. There's no
Yeah.
reason why creative needs to be, a bit dull or lacking humour, or depending, of course, which industry you're in, whether that be manufacturing, financial services, etc. But I alluded to it earlier, and I think because we tailor our programs of work, it's not an off-the-shelf solution. We really can make sure that we are giving the best solution to our clients, and that's not budget dependent. We can do a little or we can do a lot. I think that makes our services quite accessible to businesses of all sizes, whether it's a comprehensive strategy or just a targeted campaign.
And I was going to ask you about that because Golley Slater is a well-known name in the industry.
Mm.
And as you said, you've been around a long time. So
Yeah.
maybe do you, is it an opportunity to talk to the high end of the SME market, not just corporates, about the kind of things that you do? Because you do, as you just said, you can do a little with somebody or you can do a lot with somebody. So you do work in that SME marketplace to support those companies' growth.
Absolutely. And, we love nothing more to watch a client succeed. Our kind of ethos, mine at least, is that you grow, we grow,
Yeah.
and we do it together. And I think that forming those partnerships, it's another thing that we're really proud of at Golley Slater. Our average tenure for clients is around 10 years.
Wow. Yeah.
So we're very good at kind of understanding businesses and people, and building on that. So yeah, the size of business really for us, again, as I said, we're a little bit of a startup with that kind of backing of a bigger independent agency. They're often more fun, and you can be more creative because of that, and that for the team also is a little bit more exciting. So yeah, we certainly we span all ends of the spectrum and everything in between, shall I
Yeah,
say.
which I think is what people need to know in terms of getting all of that expertise that you
Mm,
have at Golley Slater and being able to utilize and being able to access that
yeah,
from a small business or a medium-sized business as they're growing and developing, which is which is
100%.
which is
And
fantastic.
we have our own media agency within the agency. So if you're buying media, you can do that through us without having to go to a bigger kind of media agency as well. So, that is the joy, like I said, being part of the wider group.
And we've just alluded to some of the fact that you've got a lot of expertise in the business, but it is a
Mm.
fast-moving environment, isn't it?
It certainly
And
is.
and how do you then keep kind of ahead of the curve yourselves at Golley
Mm.
Slater?
Mm. So we kind of have an ethos, if you like, of betterness and curiosity. And those things are kind of baked into our everyday. We can't work in this industry if we're not curious about the world, not just different technologies. AI, for instance, is all over the place. We've been using it for years, but now we're using it in a different capacity. Yeah, we just can't live in an agency world and a fast-paced world without being curious. I think we also can't live in the world we live in without wanting to better ourselves, whether that be, knowledge of a certain channel, for example. You might want to kind of know a little bit about everything. You might want to be a complete specialist. And I think the business certainly helps to support the specialists, and it helps to support the generalists too.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And finally, what advice would you give to a business looking at improving their marketing efforts? So where might they start, or what should they be looking at?
It all goes back to the business objectives and the goals for us. There has to be, I think, a laser focus that everything you do must ladder back up to that business objective. And that's not just for marketing. So we hear a lot about sales and marketing misalignment. But I
Yeah.
think my advice would be to bring those two specialists together to pull in the same direction. Maybe merge the goals for sales and marketing as one group, rather than sales having one set of KPIs and marketing having another. I think really kind of pulling together in that sense, like I say, and having that laser focus on business objectives is key. And measuring the right things, and a willingness to adapt based on those results. As I said earlier, if something doesn't work, it's not necessarily a failure. See it as a gift, with the insights that you've got to do better, and make sure you're a little bit more targeted to next time hopefully get the results that you would like.
I know that, and that's very true. If you don't have measurement and you don't know what the objective is, then you could end up anywhere, couldn't you? And actually, you don't know what's working or what's helping you to move towards your goal. So they are critical, both of those.
Yeah, I think in a world of content creation,
Mm.
there's content everywhere.
Yes.
How do you measure it? How do you know that it's working? And of course, there are different levels of measurement, right? You've got your management and your business information, but you also need your key marketing metrics. So we always talk about a measurement pyramid, where you have your kind of board level reporting at the very top, and you have your kind of marketing campaign, what's my click-through rate, what's my open rate at the bottom. And then you've got everything in between, so I think looking at it from all angles is key.
Yeah, I think it's bringing that scientific approach to the very creative, isn't it? So bringing them both together is where the
Yeah,
magic happens.
yeah. The art and the science, as we like to
Yeah,
say.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, that I see that you see that much more now, and you that makes much more sense, doesn't it? In
Yeah,
terms of bringing those two together, so you get both ends of the board also being able to understand what's being done and what's being delivered.
exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
Well, it'd be interesting, Sophie. I think we're going to do a few of these in terms of picking some of the key subjects, and some of these we've talked, we've dipped in and out of today. So we'll pull some of those themes together maybe, and then we can talk in a bit more depth about them so that people can get an understanding of some of the things that they should be doing that maybe they are doing but could do in a different way. And maybe some of the trends that are coming out. You talked about AI, that clearly
Yeah,
is making a big splash everywhere. And how can that be utilized by businesses to help them move forward as well? So
yeah,
that's really great,
absolutely.
Sophie. Thank you very much for your time. And I say
No,
we'll
thank
pick
you.
up on these themes over the next few months. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Look forward to it. Thanks,
Thank
Suzanne.
you.